No, I'm kidding. Hi. So this is Lauren Carr back with another installment of Lauren Speaks, and this is actually more of a sensitive video. I will be talking about, so trigger warning, I will be talking about the topics of death and self-harm, and this will go into a little bit of mental health categorization, the mental health category. Um, so yeah. Okay. So, I'm here to talk about my near-death experience. Actually, I need you guys to sit down and grab a snack and lay back like I'm your therapist. Okay. Kidding, kidding. But okay, so my hmm, I've had a few near-death experiences. It's like death loves to kiss me, I guess. But okay, so I have to set my mic up. Pardon. So I actually have almost died probably a total of what, 3 times? That's crazy. But yeah, it's true. So where should I start? I guess we'll start from the top. So when I was about 6 or 7, I actually I went swimming with my um, mother-in-law and her children. So my father actually just got remarried, and she had her own children, and I would visit them for like every other summer or so, for the time being that I was there. And we would go swimming like all the time. Go swimming in pools, go swimming in creeks, go swimming, you name it. Any place that there was like a source of water, we would literally swim there. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, oh yeah, I remember also one of those times. We were in a creek and a fish, I swear to God, a fish sucked on my toe. It kind of tickled, like it kind of felt like it was trying to like latch onto it, maybe nibble on it or something. But I don't know, it was really weird. It was like a suctiony feeling. My toe still remembers it to this day. Like, I don't know. Like I'm having flashbacks. But anyway, we were in a creek that time. But there's other time when I was probably about the same age, right? And we went to a pool. Now, I had been practicing prior that summer to swim with floaties and the life jacket, the whole 9 yards, because, right, like, little Lauren didn't even know how to swim. And so we were practicing, and I, I jumped off of the diving board with some assistance, and I'm like, okay, okay, I see. And so I'm getting the hang of it, I'm getting the hang of it. So I'm starting to think, like, you know what? I don't need that. I don't need you. I don't need these floaties. Girl, something told me though, don't let go of the life jacket. But I was like, nah, I gotta see what I'm capable of. I gotta see what I'm made of. And herein lies the beginning of my self-sabotage throughout life. Cause what? A girl, you don't know how to swim. Why would you do that to yourself? So, yeah. I literally was like, I got this, and I took my stuff off. I was trying to make sure nobody was looking because I didn't want anybody to get in my way of what I wanted to do. So I made sure nobody was looking. I threw my floaties off, I threw my life jacket off, and I jumped in. And I was thinking to myself, like, I'll jump in when there's somebody that's kind of close to me. Not close enough where I hit them, right? But close enough to just in case I don't know how to make it out. Because like there wasn't many people around. So they had to be close to me just so I can make it out, just so I can like have a chance of survival. So my poor sister was the one that was in the tub. Not the tub. What the fuck? Excuse me. The, well, I guess it is a big tub, right? The pool. But yeah, she was the one in the pool. And I I was like, I jump in, I'm flopping and flailing and just splashing and being crazy. And then I'm like, okay, let's see if I can float. Let's see if I can float. Like I was really testing the waters, like way too much. And so I was trying to see like how well I could how long I could last. And I'm like, well, I keep on sinking. Like, I gotta grab onto her or something. I've got to do something, or else this is like it. This cannot be the way that I go out. So I'm like, sorry, I had to do it to you. So I grabbed onto her, and I don't even know. Like I latched on. You know, like a cat are when they were put in water, they latch onto whatever to get the fuck out of it. And as a Leo, yeah, I get it. So I was just for her, like I didn't dig into her skin. At least I don't think I did. But I know that bathing suit was hanging on by a tether. And I was like, you know what? I can't let you go. And she kept on saying like, Lolly, Lolly, because this is my nickname at the time. She's like, Lolly, Lolly, chill, 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 chill. And I don't know. I could not chill. I'm like, oh, I was just drowned. I shouldn't have did that. There were no adults. Like, so there was that, and that was traumatic. Why did I do that to myself? He was able to pull me back to shore. She well to the edge of the pool, and I was just sitting there like panicking frantically, like kind of sitting there. You know how I've had a very loud inner voice even as a child, so like I'm literally observing myself, looking at myself, scolding myself, like, now how was that? How about them apples? How did you like that? Did it go well? Did it go to plan? Was that was that what you were looking for? And I don't know, like I was pissed off at myself because like, shut up. Like I wanted to try it out to see. Like I wanted to test the waters. Literally, I thought I could. I needed some more practice for sure. But anyway, so that's one of the first times I almost died, but I didn't die. I'm just to this day, like I look back at that and I'm like, oh my gosh. And you know what's weird? I actually really love the element of water. I think it's such a beautiful element. I enjoy going by creeks and natural sources of water, even the pool, right? Even the tub. I love the tub. Scrub it up, dub, rub it up, dub. Um, and I just be chilling in there, you know. But it's so weird because I think I'm not sure if that event gave me a fear of water or not because I started feeling funny around it. Like something's gonna drag me under. Like I don't know where these thoughts came from, but they did. And I guess maybe I gave myself a phobia by almost killing myself. That's crazy. Well, and it's also kind of like, I don't know, this doesn't really fit, but since we're on the topic of elements, I can't help but also reflect on the fact that I used to also have this big fear of fire too. And it's really funny because like fire and as much as they're opposites, I actually see how similar they are. They're very active and strong currents, right, of element. And so it's just kind of funny how I ended up being afraid of those two the most. I'll say I'm not afraid of earth. I'm not afraid of air. I mean, breathing every day, you know. So I don't know, it's just really interesting. So, okay, now next story time. This one is a little less funny, a lot less funny. It's actually way more triggering as well. So, this has to do with a suicide attempt of mine when I was 16 or so. Yeah, I was 16. Probably, I want to say like midway through being 16. Very painful. And I honestly, I ran away from home at this time, which is a completely different story. So if you want to check that out, stay tuned on my channel because I will be going into that as well. But yeah, I ran away from home. I was in the back of this vehicle and I was like, you know what? Excuse me, pardon me. I was like, you know what? It can't get much worse. People don't need me. Like, obviously, like, look how they treat me. Nobody cares. You know, I try, but oh, oh, am I getting emotional? Yeah, like, nobody cares. I'm just, you know, it's unnecessary for me to be here. That's how it felt at the time. And so I was like, you know, yeah, all right, just do it. Just go through with it. You always saying you're gonna do it. You never do. Um, It's like you always take certain things a certain extent, but you never go all the way when it comes to these things. And I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah, I'm gonna do it. That was not the voice that I should have been listening to because what? Like, why? Whoa, that's dark. Like it was very loud though, and I guess that's the thing about pain. It's really convincing, especially when you're very familiar and accustomed to it. So I ended up listening to it. I was like, hell yeah. So I gave in, and I didn't know really what to do or what to take or what, you know, because I'm like, well, I'm not gonna resort to my typical, pardon, I'm not gonna resort to certain means that I'm used to for self-harm. I'm gonna step it up a notch. I'm gonna try something different. So I ended up ingesting like a whole thing. I think it was extended release NyQuil, if I'm not mistaken. It was something. One of those like really strong medicines. Yeah, so I ended up ingesting that whole bottle in the back. And I was like, you know what? I looked around at everybody in the car and I was like, you know what? I don't care about me. I don't even know how I got caught up with y'all. This was really not where I should have been. It's like, you're at that crossroads, that pivot point where you're looking at your life and you're like, what the hell am I even doing? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I guess we'll find out if I come back, right? If this doesn't kill me. If, regardless of what is current, if this doesn't kill me, then maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's something more, right? Although maybe as incoherent as that may come across, those are my thoughts. Those are my stream of thinking at the time. And so I'm like, all right. So I decided to just ingest the whole bottle. And it was like that green one, the green NyQuil, I think. Anyway, I was in the back of the trunk. It was one of those like SUVs with an open trunk, so I'm like, I wasn't in a trunk. But yeah, so I'm just laying there. I'm like, okay, I'll wait until this shit kicks in. And so I'm waiting, I'm waiting. It doesn't take long for my body to start feeling funny. So I'm like, oh snap. I don't know, part of me, I got slightly excited. And I'm like, wow, is this it? Like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Get me out of here. But another part of me was like, what have I done? Why would you do that? Um, So yeah, I end up feeling like buzzing in my body and these weird tingly sensations. I guess this really, if I look back at it, was like my spirit disconnecting from my body. Um, and this experience brought back a whole lot of insight and wisdom. I was like not the same after this. Anyway, I end up feeling like, ooh, this is kind of serious. Maybe I should tell the person that I'm with right now, right? Like maybe I should because we're in a car full of people. So I'm like, let me tell the person that's like of relevance here. And I told him, and he was like, well, actually, I don't know if I told him before I died, or if I told him, why did I do that? Before I died, or if I did it after, like I came back. I'm not sure anymore, but you'll have to excuse me. So I don't recall exactly the order of it, but I remember that I left somewhere. My body detached, my spirit detached from my body, and I went and to this realm, this dimension. It was really, really beautiful, and it was kind of interesting because before I decided to act on my decision, we were pulled over to the side of the road because we were on a road trip, and we looked at the stars. That we were in this like flat prairie land. I believe it were Montana, but it was dark. It was late. There was no light pollution. It was so beautiful. We were like the only car on the road, only vehicles on the road for like, at least a few miles. That's how unpopulated it was. It was really, really beautiful though. I fell in love with it. And I was like, wow, like if you I wish I had a telescope with me at that time because like I could just like come out of the car and look up at the sky and the stars were just so gallant and so just they were gorgeous. I wish I could go back. I do. I would love to see the stars again, like how I saw that night. But anyway, yeah, I was like, well, that's a beautiful sight before I decide to do what I'm gonna do. So yeah. Anyway, when I was in that dimension, the place that I went, I felt this presence that was all encompassing. It was everywhere. It looked just like the indigo night sky. It had hues of deep, deep purple to the point where it almost turned blue. Um, this, like, think of like a deep, dark periwinkle, or even like an amethyst. Yeah, like super deep purple, where eventually it just has like that super rich undertone, that depth. It was really beautiful, and it felt very feminine. And I'm going to showcase like this is like how I was held. It's like my spirit was being taken up out of my body. I was being held for a time being, and I was being looked at. And I was like being analyzed, thoroughly assessed, right? And I don't know how long I was there. I just know time flowed differently here versus in on Earth, on the Earth dimension. So I looked, my spirit body was still being held by this entity, by this being, right? But the funny thing is, she wasn't just like this separate entity. She was the space. She was the dimension. She was like the personification of the domain of that place because she sprouted hands to in order to cup me, to hold me. Anyway, I'm looking down. I was pretty high up, higher up than I fucking thought I was. I look down and I see my earth body and I'm like, whoa, whoa, what the fuck? I was panicking. I was freaking out. So I was stunned. And I was like, oh, it worked. And she held me and she looked at me and I felt like in that moment, because it was such a pure place, it was very clear and pure in essence. And it I couldn't help but to a certain extent feel convicted, not for what I'd done, but because of all the negativity that was latched onto me, even the ways like that I was sabotaging myself and harming myself. That was, and any residue from the environment and those that were around me that I know I wasn't supposed to be around was very much active in my aura. So when I was here in this place, all of that was being screened, all of that was being assessed and observed. So there was a natural level of she wasn't judging me, but because of the essence of the place, it's so purified that it's like anything that isn't, it's got to get out of there. It's going to feel the natural dissonance of being called out because it's not in its rightful essence. It's not in its rightful alignment, positioning. So I was being held, and she was like, kind of like shaking her head, but not judgmentally, just like, "Mm, this is a pitiful case. This is very sad." And she was like, she was just very, very distraught that I was so hurt that I thought that this was the way out. And she held me like like a loving mother would, like a way that I had never honestly been looked at before. And it made me feel so weird. I felt so surrounded and encompassed. It made me feel so small and so seen all at the same time. And she just held me and looked at me. I was there for probably what, maybe 30 minutes. And she looked at me some more and she said, "Not yet." And after she said, "Not yet," she put my soul back in my body. And the way, oh my God, like the way that it felt to come back from this space of weightlessness into this density, because Earth is dense as fuck, like dimensionally speaking, energetically speaking, it's very, very, very dense. Um, it's heavy here. And so spirits aren't, mm, well, the I guess the spiritual essence of things, right? They're a lot lighter. They operate in a different dimension. Like I don't know. I don't really want to get into the logistics, but there are some spirits that are a little bit heavier than others. But in total, it's more etheric. It's not as heavy as this third dimension, right? So yeah, I God damn, it felt like I was being smacked down back into my body. It was heavy. I remember the way that it felt, the ways that I had like all these anchorage and all these roots in my body that felt like they weren't mine. I'm like, ugh. And then I felt so new. I felt different. And so I looked around with like completely affected by like a new set of eyes from where I had just been. And I'm like, whoa. And I started seeing colors. I started having these synesthetic type experiences as a result of having gone there. It like reattuned my senses or something. I started seeing the auras of the people around me, and I'm like, hey, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I got to go because they just weren't right. Like we were very misaligned. We should have never been, right? And so there was that. And not to mention, I came back with specific instructions. There was this very loud voice saying, drink water, drink water. And I was like, okay. And I was like, what if I tested a little bit and not drink water? And then something was like instantly scolded me, drink water, because it was a call for, it was an emergent call because I need to flush my system of any residue. Like yeah, they may have saved my spirit. The lifeline was preserved, but I still have a body. And that experience taught me so much about, like, I already understood that we have a spirit and we have a body. But in this experience, I actually got to see, like, the mechanics at play, the differentiation of the dimension and dimensions of self. And there are so many, like, way more. There's so much in between this physicality, this bag of meat and bones and our spirit self. There are like so many interfacing layers. It's actually crazy how much it takes to animate oneself here, which is so strange, but really cool when you like when you learn about it, right? So yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Like don't kill yourself, okay? Don't do that. So um yeah, so like don't do that. Don't kill yourself. And that was like a really crazy experience. Yeah. I don't know what this dimension was called. It was like the blue, I would call her like the blue indigo, the blue mother. I don't know. I've heard after that, I was obsessed with near death experiences. I started listening to everybody's. And a lot of, I actually watched a lot of like Christian, I don't know, Christian rhetoric perspectives on near death experiences. And it's so funny because I didn't go to hell in this one, you know? Maybe this goes into a whole topic. It could be about, if all is the mind and you believe yourself to be going to a particular destination, um, then maybe you make it so. Maybe you animate the field for that to be your experience. Of course, there are things outside of even our mind that are structurally so, that have their own precedence and I'll say, um, I'll say profoundness of influence, right? Moreover, even just us that determine certain outcomes. But, we co-create. So I'm just thinking like, what if people are thinking that they're going a certain type of way based off a certain set of actions, um, and because they think so, and because they believe, that's literally what ends up happening, you know? Because I grew up not really with the concept of hell, but in a very like religious setting. So we didn't believe that, um, I guess, certain people were going to hell, and we only believed that a certain amount of people were going to heaven, which was crazy. So I don't know if like we just, when we die, we just go to the grave, right? But it was never specified if you, like let's say you do a certain thing while you're alive, like if you try to commit suicide, it never really said where you're predetermined to go. So I don't know. Very interesting. I went to this really beautiful spiritual dimension. It was full of beauty, full of love, and I don't know. I don't know. It was really interesting though. So yeah, those are my near death. Well, didn't I say? Oh, well, yeah. I don't really want to talk about it anymore. Yeah. That was my story time. If you found it interesting, if you found any value in it, and you would like to see more from me, please stick around. we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you over here at Lauren Speaks. So, yeah, signing off. Bye.